There was some data that came out that said 71% of agents didn't sell a single home last year. The massive opportunity is the fact that markets can fluctuate your business a little, but it can't take you out. But when a market rebounds, which it does 110% of the time, it can be responsible for 4, 5, 6xing your business. You've got to go through a year like that to understand how to handle a year like that. Real estate ain't going nowhere. But we're fixing to enter into the most profitable time for real estate agents that we've ever seen because of several reasons. One, you also have technology is going to get better. AI is going to get better. Social media is going to get better. We're going to have more sales in an environment that we can sell more in less time due to technology, and also an environment that commissions are not going to go down. AI and technology, communication advancements that create these scenarios where we sell more property in less time. Meanwhile, people need agents, a real live person. And the evidence is there. Over 90% of buyers and sellers use a real estate agent, and that's at an all-time high. If somebody gets a listing that you were on a listing appointment and they were interviewing 3 agents and another agent got the listing, do you understand the positive side of that? When you lose the listing, it gives you an opportunity to figure out where the holes are in your game, A, but B, the biggest part, you get future time back. The most valuable asset is time. Right now is the best time to get in the business.
Let's go. So, all right, with that, you guys, this is raw, unscripted. So, you guys know me. We are proud to have Ricky Carruth, who has by himself sold over $1 billion in sales without a sales team. Created this massive coaching company, which we're going to talk about. And if you guys, like I said, please be sure to follow him on social media. Coming all the way from the Gulf Coast over in Alabama. So, I mean, what's the price point average going on right now in Alabama, Ricky?
You
Roughly?
know what? I just looked today. We went over 800,000 for condos, and we're in
Whoa.
the 700 range for homes. I'm in like a vacation area.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's cool. I
yeah,
thought
it
I thought it was
is.
going to be way less. I mean, that's up there. That's pretty
I
good.
know, I know. Back when I was selling 100, the first year I sold 100 properties, it was like 300 was the average price. Um, so it's come a long way. I mean, if I were still, I think to myself, if I were still there selling 100 properties, start adding up how much that would actually be.
That'd be
But
insane.
yeah,
That'd be
yeah, the
insane. Well,
market's changed dramatically over the last 5 years.
it really has. And that's kind of what I wanted to start off with today, because one of the things that we've been promoting at our company is we've been talking to the agents about, there's absolutely no reason we shouldn't be focused on a goal of increasing our business this year. And the opportunity from my perspective is massive. And I know that you agree with that. But the way NAR is talking about sales are going to go up from 4 million to call it 4.5, but yet we're going to see 500,000 realtors fall off the map, go away from the industry, which is sad. But that is a formula for opportunity, in my opinion. So I wanted to hear from you. Maybe let's start with that conversation. How do you see that as an opportunity? What have you been telling realtors right now?
Well, yeah, it sounds like an opportunity if you're not one of the 500,000.
Absolutely, right?
There was some data that came out that said 71% of agents didn't sell a single home last year, which is probably pretty standard for a year where you're down to a 30-year low in terms of the number of sales. The massive opportunity is the fact that markets can fluctuate your business a little. Like, say you're selling 100 properties a year and like we run into a 30-year low, you could probably be down 10, 20, 30%, something like that, but it can't take you out. A market can't take you out unless you let it take you out, unless you don't understand that closings happen every single day, regardless of market conditions, and you understand how to create leads out of thin air. I think the agents who are dependent on Zillow and open house leads and social media leads and stuff like that, they've probably suffered the worst because you're susceptible to the leads that the market gives you versus being able to create leads at your, whenever you want and basically pick out the leads that you want. But when you think about the landscape of where we are and the fact that markets can only really fluctuate your business, they can't take you out. But here's the punchline: markets can fluctuate you down, a percentage, but on the flip, but when a market rebounds, when a
Hmm.
market has a low and it rebounds, which it does 110% of the time, it can be responsible for 4, 5, 6xing your business. And that's what's very interesting right now is the opportunity of the rebound because we are going to rebound. And, look, We were at a, this is a 30-year low last year with basically 100 million more people in the US, like 70 million more people in
Crazy.
the US. So we had the same amount of sales as we did with 70 million less people back in the 90s. That's what happened last year. If you look at 2007, I think it was, we hit 7 million, 2005 or 7, we hit 7 million transactions in the country. That was the all-time high. 2021 was 6 million transactions. So when you look at where we actually are compared to where everybody wants to act like we might be or where we're headed, the reality of it actually shows me that we're going to hit this new norm where the norm used to be 4.5 to 5 million existing home sales. That was the norm forever. I think we're going to enter into a new norm where 5 to 5.5 million, even 5.5 to 6, somewhere between 5 and 6 million existing home sales will become that new norm that we'll see for several years before the next decline, before the next downturn of the market, which will happen.
Right.
Like these things happen every 8 to 10 to 12 years. And it takes for the 71% that didn't sell anything, or you had a bad year, or you sold one, or you're still just getting started, whatever the case may be. Right now is the best time to get in the business, number one. But number two, you've got to go through a year like that to understand how to handle a year like that. Once you understand how to handle a year like that, back in 2002, I got in, I made a mill within like 3 years. Then the market crashed. I lost everything. Well, I didn't know how to handle a market like that. I had to go through that 2005 to 8 time to understand what that actually was and how to set my business up where I thrive no matter what the market does. And so then when I came back, it was game over. So you got to go through a year like that. So if you went through a year like that and you kind of feel defeated, don't feel defeated. Feel like you hit the jackpot. Like
Yeah.
for you to be born the year that you were born, to end up the age that you are, to go through that year at the age you went through it, and still have so much left of your career to capitalize on the lessons you learned last year is a blessing from heaven. It really is. And I
Mm,
hope you see it and I hope you go all in and take advantage of it because real estate ain't going nowhere. It's not going you can't burn it. You can't burn the ground. You might burn the houses. Hurricane can't blow away the earth. Like real estate's here and it's going to continue to be developed. They're building all over the place, man. When I was driving
oh yeah.
around Orange Beach and I was like, wow, I hadn't been down there in a while. And it's like, whoa, there's a lot more going on than I even thought was going on. But
Absolutely. And it's interesting because obviously people, Trevor put in the chat, people need a place to live. They always need a place to live. There's always going to be sales in this industry. But we are in San Diego and you hit close to home because you just said, houses can burn. Oh, we've been going through that, right? We're going through that process right now, which is super sad. And in San Diego County, fortunately this year we didn't experience that turmoil that they had in LA. But
yeah,
those are things that happen in this business. I know if anybody's newer in the business on this call, I hope you got excited about the statement of this is the best time to get into the business because
it,
everybody's on the same playing field, right, Ricky? Like we're all
nowhere,
we're all learning.
nowhere to go but up.
Yeah,
When you hit a 30-year low, it doesn't get any worse. Okay, how could it get worse? Prices go down? Please let prices go down. You should be thinking as an agent, please let prices go down. Like, how many of you have clients that are just waiting on prices to go down? How many deals would you do if prices went down? Like, it would be a frenzy.
right.
There's so much pent up demand. We have more pent up demand right now than we've ever had, ever in history. We've got more first time home buyers than we've ever had due to the birth rates in 1990. We've got more trade up sellers who are sitting on low rates that literally, I'll just say it. They dislike their home. They hate their home so much, but they're kind of locked in. They want to move so bad, but they just can't financially. There's so much pent up demand from trade up sellers, first time home buyers, family formations. The future is brighter than I could ever imagine. And I'll tell you, agents are going to make more money moving forward. We're fixing to enter into the most profitable time for real estate agents that we've ever seen because of several reasons. One, we're going to see this new norm of 5 to 6 million existing home sales. There's going to be more homes selling than we've ever seen on a yearly basis. You got that. You also have AI and technology, communication advancements that create these scenarios where we sell more property in less time.
Yep.
Like Zillow came along. Well, I wouldn't have been able to sell 100 properties a year without Zillow being there. Why? Because it took the time away from me and gave the time to the clients to look up the properties they wanted to see. I used to look up all the properties. Now, Zillow did it for me after Zillow came along, and literally I could take that time I used to spend trying to find properties for buyers and go find more clients.
Mhm.
And it's just like for sellbyowner.com, like they thought, oh, the world's over. Your agents are out of business because of this. No, it just gave me a portal I could use to contact them for sell by owners easier, and sell more
Yeah.
properties. Every little step of the way has only enabled us to sell more properties in less time. Electronic signatures, like the list goes on and on and on. Social media, the on and on and on. Sell more properties in less time. You think that's going to get worse? No, technology is going to get better. AI is going to get better. Social media is going to get better. All this, all that world is going to continue to improve. Meanwhile, people need agents, a real live person. Otherwise, we'd have been replaced years ago. We'd have
Yep.
been out of the business with the bookstores and travel agencies. We'd have been out of business with those guys. No, I mean, it's almost like a lawyer. There has to be a consultation. There has to be a conversation. This is $1 million asset. This is a $2 million asset. This is a $500,000 asset. It has to be handled with care. It can't be handled by a robot. And so
100%.
we're always going to be needed. And that's what's very interesting to me is the fact that we're going to have more sales in an environment that we can sell more in less time due to technology, and also an environment that commissions are not going to go down. We saw
That's right.
this with the Sitzer Burnett, the NAR settlement. Commissions haven't went down. I mean, if you can't even make commissions go down with something like that, and that tells you right there, and I'm just going to say it, we're underpaid. Real estate agents are underpaid, and that's why commissions won't go down. We're at rock bottom right now. Buyers think we spend 15 hours on their deal throughout the deal, when in reality, we spend 87 and a half hours. And there's a big disconnect on what we do versus what they think we do. But all they have to do is go try to do it on their own, and they'll realize real quickly why we get paid what we get paid and why we're the best deal on the planet. And the evidence is there. Over 90% of buyers and sellers use a real estate agent, and that's at an all-time high, even in an environment where they have more information than they've ever had. Why is that? If they have all the information, they have all the tools, they have everything they need to do these deals on their own, why are we at an all-time high of people using real estate agents? The more information they have, the more complicated it is for them. Like this environment makes it really complicated for consumers. It's actually it was a lot more simple back in the day for consumers to do what they're doing, but now it's just like, whoa, it's like a whirlwind of,
Too much
information. If you don't do
information.
this every day, you need a professional even more now than you've ever needed one. So with that being said, we don't get paid enough. It's almost like a roofer coming to your house and like, I'll charge you 10,000 for that. And you're like, nah, I don't think you really worked that hard. I'm going to pay you 5,000. What's the roofer going to say? Roof it on your own, big boy. I'm going to go
Yep.
do a different roof.
Yep.
Same thing with real estate agents. Like it gets to a point where we're like, go do it on your own. I'm not doing this for 1%. Like if you want to go try it on your own, try it. But if I'm going to spend 87 hours, then I'm going to get paid at least minimum wage. I started breaking it down. If you broke down what agents actually get paid after they pay out all their expenses and the hours they put into the deal, it ain't too far away from minimum wage. It
Really.
ain't too far out there. We don't get paid enough. And so commissions aren't going to go down. We're going to be in an environment where people can sell more, agents can sell more properties in less time, and we're going to have more deals to go around in an environment where, like you said, maybe we will have less agents, which will leave more market share for the ones that are left standing.
So it's interesting. You say with technology getting better, let's talk about the relationship skill set of a real estate professional. Let's talk about how important the relationship building, building those relationships for long-term returns. I mean, let's talk about that for a little bit, Ricky, because I know that you're super passionate about, it's the relationship, not the quick sale.
Well, I mean, how many of you guys would you rather, let's put it this way, would you rather have 30 active listings or 30 active buyers? Right?
I know my answer.
If you want an 80/20 business, you need to spend 100% of your time prospecting property owners. And even at that, you're still going to have 20% of your business is going to be buyers. sellers that bought, referrals, people that want to buy your listings. Like you're going to have buyers just because you're an agent. Why are we chasing buyers? You should be chasing property owners who buy and sell. They're the highest quality prospects. They're the easiest buyers to work with. And when they list, they give us leverage. So when you think about being the most efficient, I mean, how do I, as a single agent, sell 100 properties a year as a single agent and crush all the teams? My sales volume outpaced all the teams in my market. I was the number one agent in my MLS for 8 years in a row, just me. I had one unlicensed assistant next to me, and she just did the transaction coordination and stuff. I did everything else. How do I do that? Because I understand efficiencies. There's efficient leads and there's non-efficient leads. So you got to build your business around efficiency and scalability. So you got to be able to scale. I call it scaling your personality. You got to be able to take who you are, show that to as many people as possible, but not only just anybody. It's got to be the right people, and then never let them forget who you are, and continue to stay in front of them, where they can see your personality, not just cold hard facts of closed sales or new listings or whatever. They want to know you. They can get that stuff anywhere. They want to know you. They want to know who they're dealing with, and they want to get to know you better. And so when you think about, you want a listing based business, we have to think about, okay, where does listing come from? Well, listing comes from a property owner who had a great relationship with a real estate agent. You ask anybody at the end of the deal how they picked their agent, the most common answer is they had a friend in the business with a great reputation. And so you start to really think about, okay, they're going to go with who they like the most. Creating relationships with property owners is the game. The KPI of lead gen is conversations. And the growth of my business is 100% dependent on, am I having enough conversations with the right people? Right. And then when you take it to the next step, it's like, okay, what's the purpose of those conversations? And this is where the relationship thing kind of starts, because you got to have all that in place first. You got to understand that the legion of choice that you have in place is producing enough of conversations with the right people for the velocity of growth you desire. If it's not, then you got to fix that first. Then when we fix that, now, okay, what about the conversations? What's the purpose of the conversations? The purpose of the prospecting the leads that you get through whatever lead gen avenue you decide is one simple thing. It's to make them feel comfortable enough with you to open up to you about what it is they want to do and why, so that you can help them do it. That's it. It's not to set an appointment. It's not to close a deal. It's not to, get them to sign something or get them to. Agents predetermine what they want the result of a call or interaction with a prospect to be. How do you even know what the next step is going to be for someone when you don't even know what they're trying to do? The next step might be an appointment. It might be meeting for coffee. It might be sending them an email. It might be following up by text or call. I don't know what the next step is because I don't know what they're trying to do and why. I haven't went 5 to 10 questions deep on what exactly they're trying to do. So I think agents really play on the surface. They try to close deals and they don't even know why they're trying to close the deal. They don't even know what the client is actually trying to do. Then there's a big disconnect between what the client actually wants to do and what the agent's trying to get them to do. And now we start to see the scenario where you have prospects start to ghost the agents because they're like, this is just weird. They're trying to get me to do this thing and they don't even know why we're doing this. And that's not even the logical next step anyway.
Yeah.
So you got to slow down, guys. You just got to, when you talk to prospects, understand the actual objective. It's not to sell a property, it's not to get an appointment. It's to get them to open up to you about what it is they want to do. Go 5 to 10 questions deep on why they want to do it so you can understand fully. It's like when you go to the doctor. My stomach hurts. They don't lay you on the table and cut your stomach open and start looking in there. No, they start asking questions. They do tests. They get all the information. And then, based on that information, they put together a plan and say, here's what we need to do. Here's the next step. That's called being professional. And that's what we should do as real estate agents. You want to sell? Okay, tell me more about that. Why is it that you want to sell? Oh, you lost your job? Where are you going to be working? Where do you need to be? Your kids are in school? Go deep, 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 and understand their situation almost more than they do. Like, it'd be good if you get so good at this that you can ask questions they haven't even thought about their situation, and now you know more about their situation than they know. Conversion, like that's the conversion. Like at that point, they're just signing whatever you put in front of them. But I'll tell you the number one skill, the number one skill, the number one skill. Once you get your lead gen in place, you have enough conversations, the right people for the velocity of growth that you desire. The number one skill is being able to talk to just about anybody and making them feel so comfortable and asking them the right questions to get them to open up to you about what it is they want to do. If you can just get that down,
Mm.
then it's a wrap. You can literally create deals, leads out of thin air, on demand, anytime you want, anybody you want. You pick out whatever property you want. You know, this person's going to be my client. You call them up, you have the conversation, you get them to open up, tell you what they want to do now and later, whatever, help them put together a plan, help them do whatever it is they're trying to do. I'm not trying to get people to do what I want them to do. I'm trying to help them do what they want to do. That's the secret. If you can really get that down, it's kind of a wrap. The next stage is content because you talk to them and you give them a great first impression. You've done your thing. They're sold on you, but now they don't want to do anything really for 2 years. How are they going to remember you? How are they going to remember all those warm and fuzzies that you gave them during that great first impression? And it's real simple. Again, you've got to create simple, efficient processes that scale your personality. Weekly email and text blast. Social media should be the sprinkles on top of the cake. Email needs to be the foundation.
Mm.
Text needs to be the layer of icing on the cake. And social media and all the other stuff is sprinkles. Because you email is a social media platform that you control the algorithm to. If people don't engage with it, they still see it every week. If they don't engage with Instagram, they probably won't see your content anymore. So, is it important? Yes, do videos every single day. But the thing is know where it fits in the puzzle of your business model. I know people that I know a girl, she sold 100 properties on TikTok last year, and I'm like, "Cool, what do you do with all those leads?" And she's like, nothing. They're just on TikTok. I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, what if you collected all the data you can out of TikTok through all this engagement and deals you're doing and stuff and put them into a weekly email where they definitely see you every week, regardless if they engage with your TikTok or not. She's like, oh my God, I've been meaning to do this for so long. Because the thing is if you don't put that in place, you can't compound relationships over time and you just end up having to do social media every year in and year out until you retire because you don't have a lot of past. You have some past coming back, but think about the compounding if every single person you talk to never forgot you. And within your email, you're not giving them cold hard facts. You're giving them cold hard facts with your opinions about it, your 2 cents on the stuff. Because they can find an agent to give them cold hard facts anywhere. They're everywhere. Like I could throw a rock and hit an agent that'll send me closed sales. But it's pretty rare to find one that takes the time to actually tell me their thoughts on stuff and what's going on within the market. And they showed 2 buyers last week, and we didn't find anything for them, but we're still looking. Insight information that only you have that they can't get on Zillow, even new agents. They're like, how can I bring value? I haven't even sold a property. I'm like, well, did you show any property in the last week? Yeah, I showed a buyer. I'm like, well, that should be your content. I showed a buyer this week. We're still looking for homes. I'm showing them again tomorrow. If you guys need anything, let me know. They can't get that on Zillow. That is valuable.
Right.
That's interesting, right? So
It's
yeah,
the local knowledge, right? I mean, obviously that's something that Zillow will never trump us is that we have the local expertise, the knowledge, and we got to be professionals. And so creating content is one of the keys. But I love that the number one most important thing that you're talking about, it's all about conversations. It's having conversations. I don't think it's rocket science. Everybody talks about the same thing. If we want to get busier, we need to have more conversations. We got to double down on what we're doing, right? It's having conversations, creating content so we stay top of mind so they don't forget about us. But I love the fact that somebody put out bring out the drawing board because we got the cake, we got the icing, we got the sprinkles, we got everything. He said bring out the drawing board because
yeah.
we
I
know
got
you
I got
got
my
it.
I
There
got
it
my.
is.
He's talking about
There
my
it is.
vibe right here.
Yeah, yeah, we know what's up. So having the conversations is huge, and honestly, I think when we talk about those stats where 500,000 agents are going to leave the industry this year, hey, more
Where are you getting the
opportunity.
stats at, and what's it based on?
Basically from NAR, right? Like the National Association, just talking about they're expecting their membership to drop off by half a
Well, you
million
have to think
people.
too, like that's NAR, and you think about memberships. I think you got a lot of active agents that are just going to stop paying NAR.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly. And that's another factor to it, right? Is they're just
yeah,
not going to pay those dues.
I think
So
you'll have a lot of agents that do leave the business after a year like last year that can't afford to continue to pay the fees and stuff. I definitely think we'll see a drop, but I
yeah,
also think we'll see a drop in NAR, but not so much active. Like I think a lot of agents will stop paying NAR and still be active.
sure, sure.
So it'd be interesting to kind of see what the data really looks like moving forward with that, kind of what happens and everything. But like here's the thing: I don't care if there's 10 million agents,
Right.
right? Competition, guys, does not exist. It's a figment of your imagination. There's not a single entity out there that prevents you from talking to anybody you want to, unless they're listed, right? Unless they're listed, you can't talk to listed properties or maybe even buyers that are under buyer agencies, whatever. Real small percentage of the population. But outside of that, you can talk to anybody you want to about buying and selling real estate. It is completely y'all are in San Diego?
Yeah.
What's that like? What are you like 9 million, 12 million? How many people?
Yeah, it's over 10 million for sure.
Yeah, something like that. You gonna talk to 10 million people in your life ever? You can't even. You'd never talk to a million people. You will never talk to a million people in your whole life. You'll never talk. Never happen. You got 12. Let's say you could talk to a million people in your lifetime. You got 12 lifetimes, not even careers. When you think about a 20-year career, shit, you can't even. Uh, you got like I don't know 30, 40, 50, 100 careers worth of people to talk to over there.
Oh yeah.
It never ends. It never ends. And even if you talk to every single person, hell, they change their mind 5 seconds later. Now you got to call them again and see what they want to do now. I mean, it's never ending. It's only a game of understanding that competition doesn't exist. If somebody gets a listing that you were on a listing appointment and they were interviewing three agents and another agent got the listing, do you understand the positive side of that? It's so massive. Number one, you get future time back. You don't have to spend on that listing. You could spend procuring five more deals.
Mm.
The lessons that you learn. So what you need to do when you lose a listing is call the agent that got the listing, say congrats. How'd you get it? I've been talking to that owner for however long, or I've been doing this or doing that. Just wondering how you got it. I'm gonna help you sell it. Congrats. Because I promise you, when you lose the listing, you assume why you lost it, your presentation, maybe your price wasn't right, your commission rate, whatever. When you call the agent and the seller, I used to call the seller and the agent and ask why they chose the other agent or whatever. That was the years of my the most growth in terms of converting listings. And after I went through that, it was about like a 2 year period where I was getting some listings, I was losing listings. I would call the seller, I would call the agents. I would understand what happened really instead of me assuming what happened. By the end of that 2 year period, I was a listing converting machine. Like it was very rarely that I would not walk away with a listing because I understood what was. Most agents lose a listing and they assume what happened, and then they work on something. They don't even know if that was what the problem was. Find
Mhm.
out what the problem is, and go back and become better. So when you lose the listing, it gives you an opportunity to figure out where the holes are in your game. A, but B, the biggest part, you get future time back. The most valuable asset is time, and you literally it came from the heavens and literally gave you future time back. Now you can spend doing something other than putting that listing on MLS, getting the pictures, negotiating the deal, setting up showings, going the closing. How many hours are you going to spend on that listing? You just got all that time back. Now you can use in a very productive way. It's really powerful. When you think about you can actually turn every lost deal into five more deals and you can multiply your business this way. That's a whole nother conversation. What I'm getting at is that there is no competition when you're focused on not listings, not deals, but you're focused on the percentage of people in the market that have talked to you and like you as the market. and not listings and sales, but relationships with property owners in the market, it, it is an abyss. It's a never ending abyss. So redefine what you see as market share. I view market share as, okay, here's all the potential property owners I could have a relationship with. What percentage do I have? Because again, I'm trying to build my career. I want to make, $30 million. I want to, I want to have a whole 20-year career where I make 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million. 2025 is great, but I'm really focused on building this massive 20-year career. And I'm going to sell a lot of deals in 2025 because I'm focused on my career. Because the only way to have a massive career is to plant so many seeds in 2025 that come to fruition in 2028 and then continue to spider web and to snowball into more and more and more deals because I'm doing the weekly email.
And elaborate on that, Ricky, because I know I heard you talk about that recently about, the effort that you're putting into this year. Don't get discouraged and expect that you're going to close, oh, I did this much work, so I should close 20, 30, 40 deals. The effort that you're doing right now may not come to fruition this year. It's going to be what comes to fruition in the next couple of years. And you're building a long-term business, not just a quick return on year one, call it 2025. I mean, elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, what I would say is that when you're building your business, don't build it for long term or short term. Do it for both. So you can do both at the same time. It doesn't have to be I'm building my long term business or I'm building my short term business. No, 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 no. It's all the same. See, when you have a model like I have, where my objective is talk to the exact property owners I want to do business with, create relationships. Plan A is what do they want to do now? If they don't want to do anything now, I'll go to plan B. What do they want to do later? And within plan B, I'm capturing their information to get in the weekly email where they never forget me.
Right.
So I'm going after business now. That's plan A. Plan B is to make sure that they never forget because they're going to do business in the future. You're talking to them right now. You spent the time to get in front of them now.
Mhm.
Do we want to waste the time we just spent trying to get in front of these people now when we could literally be the agent they call upon in 2 years when they decide to do something? I want the now business and I want the later business. I'm going to continue making my calls. I'm going to find people that want to do deals now. And I'm also going to find a lot of people that want to do deals later. I'm closing the deals that want people that want to do close deals now. I'm closing deals on later with the people that want to do deals later. I'm building my business for now and later, short and long term at the same time. You should have dual purpose for every single thing that you do. Um, for example, you have a listing, and by the way, you can pick any listing you want right now. Everybody can get off this call, and you could pick any. You could pick a $20 million listing, a $30 million listing, a $10 million listing, a $5 million listing, a $1 million, a half. Any listing you want. You can pick any listing you want. Your listing, another agent's listing. It doesn't matter. And you could go on RedX and you could find all the owners around the property that own properties that are half the price, one bedroom smaller, etc., and call them all and say, "Hey, I see you're in this. I see you're in this 5 bedroom. Do you need a 6 bedroom? I see you're in a 3 bedroom. Do you need a 4 bedroom? I see you're in this house, this $20 million house. Do you want to downsize? I've got this $11 million one that's brand new that's really nice. I'd love to show you." You could literally be talking to 20, 30 million, 5 million, a half a million, anybody you want. You pick. You could literally be having conversations with anybody you want today, right after this call. But when you make these calls, I'm not calling to sell that property.
Right.
That is a reason that I'm calling. And if they're interested, great, I'll go down that road. But I'm using that property as an excuse to talk and connect with these people to see what they actually want to do and why, so I can help them do it, no matter when that is. So, I have dual purpose. I'm calling about this property. I can sell it, but I'm also just trying to create relationships with people and build my business so that I can have what? A massive career.
Yep.
And I think that's one thing agents kind of forget about. Another thing they forget about is they're just trying to make $1 million. they don't really think about what they're going to do after they make the $1 million. I know I didn't. I was just focused on making $1 million. And then once it happened, I was like, oh man, what, what do I do now? I'm working harder now than ever.
Yeah.
So, um, I just think
Great
we've been,
points.
I just think we've been poorly programmed, when it comes to prospecting and trying to set appointments and, social media and, things of that nature. So that's what I try to do is try to rearrange you guys's perception on these things so that you can actually be hyper productive, at a very efficient rate at a very cheap cost.
Yeah, and that's the key is starting off and having a game plan. What about like mistakes that you see agents making, and they don't have to be mistakes or errors on contracts. I'm talking about like what do you see them doing in the beginning of their careers, call it that, they shouldn't be focusing on. You talked about social media, you talked about campaigns, about emails. I mean, to me, it boils down to prospecting, conversations, having more conversations, being able to get better at having conversations, understanding the market. But what are some of the things that you would suggest agents, stay away from, or, hey, don't be afraid to make mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes. But what are some of the common things that you're seeing in the industry that you think agents should focus to stay away from or to get better at?
That's a good question. I don't really think there's anything. I think if you understand the principles around what I've talked about today and you
Sure.
understand what the KPIs are and what moves the needle and really what the number one I'm telling you the number one skill is getting people strangers to feel comfortable with you enough to open up to you. If you can get that part down right there, everything else will work out as long as you're having enough conversations. So, I know a lot of agents come in and they just do social media, and or do open houses or buy Zillow leads or join teams and all this kind of things. I don't think any of that's bad because as a new agent, you've got to test everything. Because
Yes.
I because King Solomon, he said, in all labor are profits, which means all work works. Every single dude, you can name any lead gen activity, the weirdest thing you've ever heard of, and I promise you, I know somebody making $1 million a year off of it.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, Everything works. It just doesn't work for everyone.
Mm.
And so I don't try to advocate you should cold call, you should door knock, you should direct mail, you should social media. I don't advocate any one thing because I know it all works. What I do advocate is here's what I care about, that you're having enough whatever you do to create leads, that that activity is creating enough conversations for your business to grow at the pace that you desire. That's what I care about. And then once you have the conversation, that you're trying to understand what it is they want to do, not what you want them to do, and that you're doing a weekly email and a text blast on the back end. That's all I care about. I think everyone should operate like that. And what that does is it creates a one size fits all where it doesn't matter what your lead gen is, it's still going to operate the same way.
Yeah.
So no, I think new agents, they're fine. I mean, come in and try everything. Do social, do this, do that, do all the stuff because in those first couple years, you're just trying to figure out what works best for you.
Right.
But I will say, and one thing I wish I knew really early on is that it is all about creating lifelong relationships with these people, not just trying to close them. Number
Right.
one, and number two, I wish I would have realized from day one that a weekly email is literally the quickest, clearest, easiest way to make $1 million a year because you can compound the relationships over time. The year you make $1 million will not be from the leads you got the year you made the $1 million. It's from all the people you talked to over the years of your career that compounded into the year that you made the $1 million. And you can't do that. I can't think of another platform that does it better than email and text blasts sprinkled with social media. It's just the perfect, combination. So kind of wish somebody would have shared some of that stuff with me from day one. I would have skipped a lot of heartache. But
Yeah.
going through I went through, taught me everything the hard way. And now I can share that with agents that, are in the early stages of their career.
For sure. And we appreciate you even taking the time and sharing with us. And I know you do this quite often. I mean, you travel everywhere. You were just at Inman? Did you go to Inman?
Dude, I was gonna go
Yeah.
and it snowed 10 inches for the first time in forever. Like
Oh, okay. So you
literally,
didn't.
Literally, it never, when I say never, I live on the beach in Alabama. When I say
Yeah.
never, I mean never. I'm 43 and I'm telling you, it's never snowed here. And we got 10 inches and the snow was here for like a week. Like it
Oh
just
man.
stayed there on our roofs and stuff. And our whole everything shut down. All the flights were canceled. It was the week of Inman. So I didn't make it up there, but
Okay.
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be in Long Island next week to do a talk. I'm
Yeah.
staying in Manhattan and going to Long Island, and then y'all are in San Diego. I'm not anywhere over that way. I'm speaking at WealthCon, Ryan Pineda's event in July, late July. I'm at a Legacy Summit in Orlando in a couple weeks. So yeah, I'm moving around,
Moving
speaking at
around.
some events.
You got the surfboard, man. So you know I got to invite you out here to San Diego. We would gladly accept you out here and welcome you, and we can have a good time out here and show you around. We are going to have a couple questions, I'm sure. If you don't mind, Ricky, I mean, I'm going to open up and allow people to ask a few questions if they just want to give you a shout out. Somebody put on the chat real quick, and Angel, if you want to unmute, if you want to ask away, but basically asking if you mind sharing some of the types of emails you send. Is it market updates? Do you kind of share data information, things like that?
I'll give you guys a website. You can actually look at. I think there's like 12 or so of the actual emails I sent out to my clients. And you can just look at what I do and just copy what I do. But the website for that is zero2diamond.com/email.
And the number two
And
or the letters TO, 02 diamond.
TO. Yeah, zero ZEROTO
So
diamond.com/email. And you can go there and you can literally just see like I think there's 12 or 15 of my past emails that I sent to clients.
nice.
And actually on that link actually too is a video where I screen shared and made an email. There's like a tutorial there as well for you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hmm.
So everybody, I know Ricky just came off like a 2-hour call and he's now sharing a lot of insight with us. So I want to give him a little bit of
And
a
I
break.
did an hour call before that.
Oh, dude, so nonstop.
This is
Feel-
yeah,
I feel your
this is the
pain.
fourth hour for me. My voice is starting to go.
I feel your pain. So I want to give Ricky a little bit of a break, you guys. Let's open up for conversation. If you have questions, comments, you just want to say hello, it's all good. I know a lot of us are getting into the business, and I know a lot of us have had very successful years and careers. So please, we got Trevor. Go ahead, man.
Hey Ricky, quick question. So I know this is more of like a kind of more focused question, but basically, uh, what I'm running into is I can get a conversation with people. I can get the ball rolling, but then what
Hmm.
I've noticed is there will be a time where I've kind of done everything where it's like, okay, hey, I'm gonna get you on a home search, and we can go look at houses, and then crickets, just all
Mm.
crickets. And
Hmm.
I'm just
Hmm.
curious how you re-engage them, or yeah, just how do you re-engage them where it's not like, hey, have you found someone else you're working with,
Hmm.
versus
Hmm.
having a more genuine approach, I guess.
Yeah. So where'd you get the lead?
Open house. And at
Uh-huh.
the open
Uh-huh.
house, it was a really solid conversation. Like they told me about what they were doing. They told me about all the areas they want to be.
Yep.
Their family dynamic, which they don't have kids, they just have animals. So the kids
Yeah.
are animals.
So
Uh,
why are they selling? I mean, why do they want to buy?
they said they wanted to buy to be closer to their friends, and where my open house was is the listing I have 30 minutes away from where I live, and they actually live in the city that I live in, and
Hmm.
so yeah.
So do they own the house they're in now?
So that is part of the problem. I didn't ask.
Okay,
I
so
don't.
let's stop right there then. Let's just stop
Yeah,
right there. Okay. So whenever somebody starts asking me, an agent starts asking me about conversion and why people are ghosting them and all this kind of stuff, what I do is I start asking them the exact questions I would have asked the prospect. And
yeah,
normally about one or two, maybe three questions in, I think that was the second question I asked, they don't know. And so I go 5 to 10 questions deep until I get to the bottom of their entire situation,
yeah,
right? By the time I'm done with those people, I know if they own, what their mortgage is, when they bought it, exactly like what and like based on all that, I would come up with more questions because I'm not listening to the voices in my head talking about what am I going to say next? Are they going to like me? Are we going to do a deal? I blocked that out so that I could listen to my clients long enough to create questions out of the content they're giving me so I
Yeah,
could understand their situation to the fullest. So the problem is you want to put them on this home search and do all this stuff when we don't even know why. We kind of have an idea. They want to be close to their friends and stuff, but that's just surface level.
it is. Yeah,
Right. And so you kind of jumping the gun to go to that next step before we even understand why confuses them. And
hmm,
it makes them feel like you're just trying to put them in this hopper to spit out a deal.
sure.
You didn't spend the time and ask enough questions to really make them feel like you're actually want to be their agent who cares about them. And
Hmm.
so it was just a lack of experience on your end, but what it portrayed was a lack of professionalism. And it what it showed was kind of an amateur, agent trying to get a deal versus an experienced agent trying to help a client.
Hey, Ricky, this is great information. Really appreciate you sharing it with our whole team here. I'm curious. I'm going to assume, given the volume of business that you're doing, that you use some type of client relationship management software. I'm just interested for the benefit of our group is how important do you feel like having some type of system to manage all of your leads and follow up with them consistently is for your business?
Mm. So again, I want to keep it since I'm a single agent, I got to keep it real simple. If it gets overcomplicated, then I spend more time trying to organize than I am serving my clients. So what I have to do is I have to figure out, okay, what works best for me in terms of simplicity to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. So what I do is I have my huge database that I send the weekly email out to that everybody goes into. Then I also do text blast. Okay. So that's that. So they go in there and then they get the emails every week, they get the texts, whatever. If somebody is interested in doing something from anywhere from 0 to 6 months out, sometimes a little longer depending on their situation, but if anybody wants to do something in the next 6 months, they go into a Google sheet and it basically have them on a list. And I call that my ABS list, my active buyer and seller list that I'm working. Um, and so that's just a Google sheet basically where I have their information and I know where we are in the process. I know what the last conversation was and I know where we're going from here. And so I just keep it on a Google sheet. And I've also just kept it on just a regular paper as far as the people that are hot, my hot leads that I've talked to that are looking to do stuff that might use me as an agent. And I work those leads until they either buy from me or another agent. If they go a different direction, I take them off the list. If they ghost me, I take them off. If they tell me they're not, they decided not to do anything, I take them off. And I just really maintain that list. And it could be a list on a notebook that you write or a Google sheet or whatever. But I don't do the whole digital CRM like thing. I feel it can really bog you down, and every little second counts. Every little second counts. So I'd have to do what works for me as far as staying really lean and mean and efficient. So that's kind of how I keep up with it. Does that help?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for asking that, Mark. Who else has any questions or comments for Ricky? You guys want to go ahead? Let's see who's up next. I don't see any hands on the screen.
And while you guys are thinking about a question, I'm happy to answer any question. I have an entire 90-day action plan. It's free, totally free. It's a 44-page deck with all my scripts, step-by-step process to go from 0 to $1 million. The same process I used to build my business. I've helped thousands of other agents do the same. If you go to 0todiamond.com/90, you can download that for free.
Awesome. Wow. Holy cow. So you guys heard it here. We'll make sure to share that again, 0 to diamond /90.
Yep.
And it's all inclusive. Ricky, I don't know if anybody is going to have a question. I think everybody figured out the secret to real estate. But honestly, if no one has any comments, questions, hey, best of luck and best of everything to you. We seriously appreciate you taking the time, jumping on this. I know having those 4 or 5 hour conversation days sometimes gets overwhelming, man. So we really appreciate you taking the time, sharing some insight. And no joke, next time you're in the area, you got to hit us up. You got to come by. We got to engrave that surfboard so it looks legit. You know, I don't know what the surf's like in Alabama, but I'm pretty sure it's probably better in San Diego, right? So,
I never surfed. There's the waves are really small here, but what I did get into was kite surfing.
oh, nice.
You know, where you have the big kite and stuff. I did that for about 10 years, but I kind of gave that up. I was in Puerto Rico. I took a pretty bad fall a couple years ago, and I sliced my arm. I was like, all right, I'm done with this. But yeah, I kind of crammed a bunch of podcasts and
Yep.
broker, like I did another brokerage meeting like this morning, and then I got my challenge happening this week. So I kind of crammed it all in because I'm gone for the next couple weeks traveling and speaking and stuff. So I wanted to knock it all out and get a bunch of content. But yeah, I hope something I said helped you guys today. That was the whole point, was maybe if you took one or two things away, and maybe a couple of you can really understand what I'm saying at the core and take it and really build a really cool career. That'd be cool for me to watch, and stay in touch with me via Instagram. I answer anytime you guys see a text or a message from me anywhere, it's me. I don't have assistants or any team or anything that answers messages and stuff. So if you guys have questions or if there's something I could do to help you, I'm happy to do that. Instagram is probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Man, Ricky, I can't thank you enough. We appreciate everything. I hope everybody did take away something. This was amazing information, Ricky, and best of you this year and for years to come. So we'll always be here if you ever have any questions for us or need anything from us. We're big supporters of you, and we appreciate it. Everybody say thank you. Say thanks, Ricky. Hey, man, take it easy. We'll see you
Thanks, bro.
soon. We'll see you,
Be
man.
good, man.
Take care.